Say welcome
Welcome
to
to
the
the who
say Frey
pay
podcast.
Padaya.
Can you say podcast?
Yeah,
Say pod.
God,
Pod.
God,
No, not God. Podcast.
gotcha. That's
Say bye.
bye.
All right, welcome back to the Frey podcast. I'm your host, Austin Gregory, and we are continuing our new series called Hot Takes. Essentially, people send in hot takes, and I am kind of on the fly going to riff off of them, and whatever notes I came up with that week, thinking about the episode, I'll share, but I don't have like a script like I usually do. This is to help me work on communication and to have fun with the podcast. We're also trying video for the first time, so we'll see how that goes. But this hot take is one I love. I have not been to a church, though, that also loves it, so we'll see how this goes. The hot take is churches should abandon live streams for the sake of the culture. I added the for the culture part, but churches should abandon live streams. I 100% agree with this. I hate live streaming at churches. I don't mind you recording your sermon and later in the week posting it, but live streaming it I have a problem with because I think too many churches are doing it, and everyone's trying to build this media empire in their church, and they're exhausting resources and they're funneling it all to the media department. And I would rather see those funds placed somewhere else. When it comes to churches and their finances, I'm very conservative. Probably to maybe more of a fault in that. When I was a youth pastor, I didn't take a salary from the church or anything like that because I didn't think our church could handle that at the time. So I didn't get any compensation. When I took over the youth group, I canceled a lot of the events our little youth group was had typically done because I was like, I don't think we need to spend money on pizza every Wednesday night, and I don't think we need to be spending money on these elaborate trips or anything like that. I cut costs, and if we were going to spend money, I wanted it to be used wisely and strategically. Not completely against, buying pizza every now and then for the youth, but I definitely chopped that budget good. Now, when it comes to live streaming, the argument for live streaming your Sunday service at a church is essentially, yeah, but we have people maybe in the hospital or in a nursing home, or they, for whatever reason, can't get to the service, and we want them to be a part of it. I hear that. What I think we're doing unintentionally, I want to preface it by saying unintentionally because I want to give people the benefit of the doubt and build a good faith argument, is I think unintentionally churches have, in hopes to reach those people who can't attend our services, created an environment where we're confusing people by making them think that them watching the service on a live stream is equivalent to them being in person at that service, and it's not. Now there's a hot take later on in this series we're going to get to about the model of churches, and I'm going to take a freaking axe to that, the model of churches today. But sticking to the live stream, what you experience in a live stream or on video is not the same at all to being a part of a local body of believers. You have no accountability. There's no in-person interaction. part of being at a church physically, the huge component of that is not only to worship Jesus as King together as the body, and it be like a lighthouse in your community that people can look to and be like, yeah, those people, those 150 people gathered, all love Jesus and they're trying to follow him best they can. It's not only that, but it's the work the Spirit's going to do in your life by putting you around people who are going to drive you insane. Sanctification, a lot of it's going to be communal. It's going to be built in community. Sanctification is this idea, this doctrine of you becoming more and more like Jesus each and every day. The way the Spirit's going to do that is by placing you in a community of believers who piss you off and who drive you up the wall insane. And I think that as Christians, we tried so hard sometimes. We try so hard sometimes to reach people who cannot come to our services, that we make these easy like pathways for them to, like through live streaming. And we communicate from the pulpit, because pastors are guilty of this. They'll communicate from the pulpit, hey, if you're gathered with us by way of, social media or through the live stream, whatever, and I've seen pastors be like, respond in the chat. That's not the same. And I think as pastors, you need to communicate that. You need to be in person. And if you can't because of some physical impairment, awesome. Watch the video later on, or watch the live stream if you have the live stream. But I think as churches, you need to communicate this is not the same. They're not equivalent. In person, online, not the same. And I think a huge part of this is because while we fall victim to thinking it's the same, is because we don't have a good theology of the incarnation. The incarnation is Jesus, the Son of God, coming down in flesh to be amongst us. Jesus' name in the early gospel accounts of what the angel tells Mary and Joseph to name the baby Emmanuel. Emmanuel means God with us. There's something very beautiful and Christian about being present bodily with people. And Christ literally descended from the throne room of heaven to come, put on flesh, and be amongst us. And 2,000 years later, we're all like, yeah, I'd rather not be amongst you physically. Why do I have to do that? Can't I just do it virtually online? No, you can't. It's not the same. There's mannerisms that you're not going to pick up on online. There are little quirks about people you're going to miss out on. And if you think I'm over emphasizing the little nuances of people's personalities, yes, because that's a beautiful part of it. I've for sure been a part of churches where the people's personality are tough for me. I'm an odd guy personally, and you're not going to pick up on how odd I am through the podcast. In fact, I've had people listen to the podcast and then we go get coffee because they came to the church or whatever, and we're talking, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a massive introvert. I'm not good at communicating in person. Part of why I'm doing this hot take series and kind of riffing off the cuff is because in person, if you talk to me, there's a good percentage of the time I'm going to not know what to say or how to say it really well. My jokes are not going to land, and I'm going to be stumbling and stuttering, and there's going to be a pause every other word. In person, you're catching all of that. You're catching all the rawness of who I am that you're not going to catch on a podcast or a live stream. Right? There's an idea of I can kind of play it up a little bit. I can give you my best self for 10 or so minutes on a podcast, or 40 minutes in a sermon. 1000%. You're not going to get that from meeting me in person at a church. Another thing about the live stream that I want to be sure to hit on, when pastors specifically, because I love picking on pastors, when pastors specifically from the pulpit talk about like, hey, they're equivalent, the live stream and the in-person service, I think it shows your ego. If we're keeping it a buck, all right, it shows your ego, because the only thing you're really getting from that live stream, besides maybe the worship team a little bit, is the pastor preaching for an hour, is one person's part of that service. That's not equivalent. In order to put together a church service in its entirety, it requires way more than just one man speaking for 40 minutes. And if you think that's what church is, then that's part of why this hot take we'll get on to in a later episode hits on the fact that the current church model in large part just supports pastors and specifically their egos. That's a huge component. No, they're live stream and in person not the same. And as a pastor, if you're communicating that, it might show a little bit of how much of the show you think is on your shoulders. The reason people should come to church is not because of the sermon, and it's not because the pastor is a great communicator or anything like that. Those are awesome. It should be because they need to be in community. And part of being in community, now God's going to work through them on that, is it's going to stretch them, it's going to pull them, it's going to hold them accountable, it's going to help them learn discipline, it's going to give them influences in their life to help disciple, mentor them. It's going to give them opportunities to disciple and mentor. And when we equate the two, live stream and in person, essentially what we're saying is that no one else in the church matters besides that pastor speaking. And he's the one who's really feeding your soul, and that's just not the case. In fact, there's going to be sermons that they're going to be complete duds. What are you going to do then? You can't lean on, but I got to keep going to this church because like the people were so great. That's not it. Because you don't know the people if you're just partaking in the live stream constantly. So I don't necessarily believe that you got to get rid of live streams completely. I do think you got to be intentional about how you communicate the purpose of the live stream if your church is going to do it. When I think about the church we're working on planning, I have no intention at all to do a live stream. I have a desire to record the sermons and post them, but I have no desire to live stream. And even with posting the sermons, like, buddy, we're going to do a Matt Chandler Village Church situation where we get on beforehand and say this should be supplemental, but it shouldn't be the steak you're eating at dinner. It should be like your protein shake you have later on. And just a little fuel to help you meet your goals, but it should not be, the recording should not be taking the place of what you experience in person on a given Sunday. So that is my hot take, or the hot take we were discussing on the Fray podcast this week. If you will, go check out our website, Into the Fray, a dash between into and the, and then another dash between the D and the Fray. That just confused it. We'll put the link in the description or whatever to the website. You can go read the blog. I spent a lot of time on the blogs. I hope you enjoy them. Go check out our social media pages. Also, if you are able to, go and we have a link on the Facebook page to go support a family who their little baby that was just born is just going through it. I don't know another way to put it, but go and support that family, and we'll try to put a link in the description for that as well. And it's just a really great way to show a family some love during a time that should be celebration, but it's a time of a ton of heartbreak, I'm sure. And anyways, this is the Frey podcast. Hope you enjoy it. Hope the video works out well. And if it doesn't, you won't ever see it, because I'm not going to post that. That's it.